This episode is sponsored by ExtraHop. ExtraHop provides threat detection and response for the enterprise, not the starship. On-prem security doesn't translate well to cloud or multi-cloud environments, and that's not even counting IoT. ExtraHop automatically discovers everything inside the perimeter, including your cloud workloads and IoT devices, detects these threats up to 35% faster, and helps you act immediately. Ask for a free trial of detection and response for AWS today at extrahop.com/trial. Good morning, AWS, and welcome to the AWS Morning Brief, and good morning, Adam Selipsky, and welcome to AWS. That's right. Today marks incoming AWS CEO Adam Selipsky's first day as an AWS employee since 2016. That's a long time. I've only been doing my nonsense since early 2017. His day is bound to be filled with HR paperwork, learning where the bathrooms are, making a bunch of unpleasant discoveries like they actually named a building reInvent, and finding out who the hell I am after at least 50 people wind up sending this podcast to him. I'm sure there'll be more to come on that in the days ahead. But we'll get there. Now let's find out what happened last week in AWS. Announcing Amazon RDS for SQL Server on AWS Outposts. Gone are the old days of data center management. Now you can pay Amazon to pay Microsoft to run Microsoft databases in your own data center. AWS Organizations launches new console experience. A pig discovers a shade of lipstick that really offsets its eyes rather nicely. AWS Premium Support launches Support Automation Workflow, or SAW, runbooks for self-service diagnosis and remediation. AWS has built a bunch of automated self-tooling to help fix common problems that are breaking your AWS environment, and in its infinite wisdom decided that this is the thing to view as a profit center. 4 new EC2 high-memory instances with up to 12 terabytes of memory are now available with on-demand and savings plan purchase options. Apparently, AWS has taken their EC2 instance pricing page and made it significantly worse in every respect. You now have to tab through a whole bunch of paginated views to find the instance you want, and as best I can tell, these new high-memory instances still cost. Reach out to your account team for details. Learn how to develop applications with Amazon DynamoDB. AWS launches their own crappier version of Alex Debris' DynamoDB guide and has begun charging you for it. Can someone please explain to me the logic behind charging people to learn to use a thing that they will pay you far, far, far more money to use? Discovering hot topics using machine learning. I had to read the article just to ensure the answer wasn't a snake oil equivalent of go to the local mall. You'll find a hot topic there. Cost tagging and reporting with AWS Organizations. A less accessible, more overwrought version of the Duckbill Group's Guide to Cost Allocation Tagging has come to AWS. After all, doesn't every great guide to cost tagging feature a curated selection of SQL queries? Introducing cold storage for Amazon Elasticsearch Service. Instead of pulling a chaos search and letting you query your data in place via an Elasticsearch or OpenSearch compatible API, AWS has decided that the better move was to make you manually move data from S3 to their Elasticsearch service and then query it. If you practice enough, you can turn this into a more expensive version of Chaos Search that's only 6,000 times slower. Unify your iOS mobile app CI/CD pipeline with Amazon EC2 Mac instances. This is the way to contextualize today's EC2 Mac instance offering, not as your workstation in the cloud. Next year at reInvent, maybe. This episode is sponsored in part by our friends at Chaos Search. You could run Elasticsearch or Elastic Cloud or OpenSearch as they're calling it now, or a self-hosted Elk stack. But why? Chaos Search gives you the same API you've come to know and tolerate, along with unlimited data retention and no data movement. Just throw your data into S3 and proceed from there as you would expect. This is great for IT operations folks, for app performance monitoring, cybersecurity. If you're using Elasticsearch, consider not running Elasticsearch. They're also available now in the AWS Marketplace if you'd prefer not to go direct and have half of whatever you pay them count toward your EDP commitment. Discover what companies like HubSpot, Klarna, Equifax, Armor Security, and Blackboard already have. To learn more, visit chaossearch.io and tell them I sent you just so you can see them facepalm yet again. Integrating Dropbox for persistent user data storage in Amazon AppStream 2.0. I'm glad to see the AWS Dropbox business relationship is thriving, or else this post would never have seen the light of day. A short history of digital commerce and 5 trends to watch in the next decade. Trend number 6, prepare for our retail division to either destroy you outright or die in the attempt. There was a blog post called Build an Anomaly Detection Model from Scratch with Amazon Lookout for Vision. Now, for a company that's as finicky as AWS is about the proper use of its branding, logos, and inscrutable Amazon versus AWS service naming convention, they sure did stomp all over the Lego Group's branding requirements in this post. They started by not capitalizing the word Lego and also by failing to flag it the first time it's used as a registered trademark of the Lego Group. Then they wound up defacing a number of the bricks to simulate production defects, which is just guaranteed to please the hell out of the Lego Group employees who've been vocal champions of AWS. I maintain that AWS remains its own worst enemy. Delete Amazon CloudWatch Synthetics dependent resources when you delete a CloudFormation stack. The CloudWatch team has the stunning breakthrough realization that when someone deletes a stack, they want all of the resources it created to go along with it. Yes, even those. Yes, I'm sure. No, I don't want you to bill me for them anymore. How Wealthfront utilizes AWS X-Ray to analyze and debug distributed applications. That 0.25% management fee that they charge before fund expense ratios had to have been going somewhere. Apparently, their AWS bill is the answer. AWS SaaS Boost, or SaaS Boost, as I refer to it, is released as open source. That's right, AWS has open sourced their tool that migrates existing SaaS products into AWS. If there's one company that clearly knows what it takes to succeed in providing well-structured SaaS products to customers, it's AWS, as demonstrated by their... Hang on. I'm sure an example is going to come to me in a second. Automated Earth observation using AWS Ground Station Amazon S3 data delivery. Are there really so many companies paying AWS to talk to the satellites that they've put in orbit that this content is best served as a blog post instead of, an email to both of the customers to whom it would apply? And finally, use EC2 Instance Connect to provide secure SSH access to your EC2 instances with private IP addresses. EC2 Instance Connect is a hidden gem of AWS services. It's a great way to get quick access to your EC2 instances without completely pooching your SSH key management. And that's what happened last week in AWS. I'm cloud economist Corey Quinn. This is the AWS Morning Brief, and I encourage you once again to make good choices.
This has been a Humble Pod production. Stay humble.